The crown is back, and guess who just picked it up like she never left? Yes, it's happening. The Princess Diaries 3 is officially moving forward, and suddenly the internet has turned into Genovia's royal town square. After years of rumors, false starts, and maybe someday interviews, the palace doors are finally opening again. And leading the charge? None other than Anne Hathaway, who is stepping back into the role that changed her life forever, Queen Mia Thermopolis. Once a princess, always a princess, but this time, she's not the awkward teenager with frizzy hair and a fear of public speeches. She's a full-grown queen, a wife, possibly a mother. And let's be honest, probably still a little awkward because that's exactly why we love her. The announcement didn't just quietly drop. Oh no, it exploded. Social media went wild. Fans who grew up watching Mia fall off bleachers and survive royal etiquette lessons are now adults, and somehow more emotional than ever. Because this isn't just another sequel, this is nostalgia wearing a tiara. And here's where things get even more interesting. This isn't a reboot, not a remake, not a let's pretend the old movies never happened situation. This is a direct continuation. That means the events of the first two films still matter. The love story still matters. The royal engagement still matters. Which brings us to the big question everyone is whispering, like, is Nicholas back? Because yes, Chris Pine, as the charming royal who stole Mia's heart, has been circling this project like he's just waiting for someone to hand him the crown again. He's joked about it before, he's hinted, he's smiled that I know something you don't smile. So are we getting a royal reunion, or has Genovia's king been off on mysterious diplomatic business for the past 20 years? And let's talk about that timeline. Over 2 decades have passed since we last saw Mia step confidently into her role. 20 years, that's a lot of royal responsibilities, a lot of state dinners, a lot of decisions that could shape a country. So who is she now? Is she still the girl who needed courage lessons from her grandmother, or is she the one giving the lessons? Which brings us to the biggest royal size question of them all. Will Queen Clarice return? Because without that iconic presence guiding Mia, does Genovia even feel complete? Fans are holding their breath, wondering if the palace will feel the same without that elegant voice delivering wisdom with just a hint of sass. And if she does return, how will her role evolve in this new chapter? But don't think this is just about nostalgia. No, this sequel is reportedly leaning into themes of female leadership, legacy, and mentorship. Translation: Mia might not just be ruling, she might be teaching. Could there be a next generation princess learning the ropes? Is Mia now the one saying shut up when someone tells her she can't handle the crown? And here's the twist no one expected. Anne Hathaway isn't just starring, she's producing. That means this isn't just a paycheck return, this is personal. She's shaping the story, protecting the legacy, making sure this chapter honors what came before, because let's be honest, sequels can be risky, especially when the original films are so loved. One wrong move and the magic disappears, but if anyone understands Mia's journey, it's the woman who grew up with her. Production is expected to begin soon, and whispers suggest a 2026 release window. That sounds far away. Until you realize how fast time flies in Hollywood. Suddenly, we'll be sitting in theaters again, watching Genovia's flag wave across the big screen. From awkward teen to confident queen, from diary entries to royal decrees, Mia's story isn't finished. But here's what nobody's talking about. What if this time, the biggest challenge Mia faces isn't becoming queen, but staying one? Staying queen sounds glamorous until you realize crowns don't just sparkle, they weigh heavy. Because let's think about it. When we last saw Mia, she had just stepped fully into her role, choosing love and duty at the same time. Fairytale ending, right? Big smile, royal wave, fade to black. But real life doesn't fade to black, it keeps going, and if the Princess Diaries 3 is truly picking up decades later, then we're not walking into a dreamy, happily ever after. We're walking into consequences. 20 years of ruling a country is no small thing. That's 20 years of political pressure, public expectations, scandals waiting to happen, and constant scrutiny. Genovia may be fictional, but the pressure? Very real. So what kind of queen has Mia become? Is she still guided by heart over head decisions, or did responsibility slowly polish away the awkward girl we adored? And then there's Nicholas. Let's not pretend this isn't the elephant in the royal ballroom. Chris Pine returning would mean we finally see what that love story turned into. Did they build a stable royal partnership, or did palace life test their marriage in ways we never imagined? Because royal love isn't just candlelight dinners and balcony kisses, it's alliances, expectations, public image, and sometimes sacrifice. Imagine this. Queen Mia, composed and confident in public, but privately questioning whether she's balancing everything right. A husband who once challenged her, flirted with her, pushed her to grow. Is he still that man, or has time changed him too? And if he's not around, why not? You see how one simple sequel suddenly opens 1,000 dramatic doors. And what about the next generation? There are strong whispers that this story may revolve around mentorship, which makes sense. Legacy is powerful. If Mia once learned how to be royal under the guidance of her grandmother, what happens when she's the one giving the lessons? Could there be a daughter, a young royal struggling with modern pressures, social media, public image? The world today is far louder than it was in 2001. Becoming a princess now would mean trending hashtags, viral moments, and zero privacy. Can you imagine Mia trying to explain royal protocol while secretly Googling how to handle online criticism? And let's not forget, this isn't being treated like a cheap nostalgia grab. Anne Hathaway is deeply involved behind the scenes. That changes everything. She knows what Mia represents to an entire generation. She knows fans grew up with that transformation story. The braces, the makeover, the confidence arc. So this new chapter can't just be, remember when, it has to mean something. And there's also the emotional weight of moving forward without the original director, the late Gary Marshall, who shaped the tone of the first two films. His touch gave the franchise its warmth and humor. So the creative team stepping into this third film has a delicate mission: honor the magic without copying it. Continue the legacy without replacing it. That's not easy. Because fans are protective, very protective. The Princess Diaries isn't just a movie series, it's comfort, it's teenage nostalgia, it's the reminder that awkward girls can become powerful women without losing themselves. So the real tension of this sequel isn't just about plot twists, it's about identity. Who is Mia now? Is she still relatable, still imperfect? Or has she become so polished that the messy charm is gone? And if she's mentoring someone new, will she recognize herself in that girl? Will she see the same fear, the same doubt, the same need for reassurance? And here's the bold possibility no one is saying out loud: what if Mia is facing a crisis of confidence again? Not because she can't rule, but because the world has changed. Leadership today looks different. Expectations are harsher. Every decision is dissected. Every mistake amplified. What if Queen Mia has to rediscover her voice all over again? What if the woman who once needed lessons and courage now needs a reminder that she still has it? That would bring the story full circle. And then there's Queen Clarice. Even if her role is smaller, her presence would carry emotional gravity. Because the grandmother-granddaughter dynamic was the heart of the original films, if Clarice appears even briefly, imagine the weight of that conversation. A passing of wisdom, a final reassurance, a reminder that strength and grace can coexist. But here's the twist that could change everything. What if this sequel isn't just about ruling Genovia? What if it's about protecting it? Every kingdom faces threats, economic pressure, political rivals, internal doubt. A queen's greatest challenge often isn't the crown, it's the stability of the throne. So what happens if Mia's leadership is questioned? What happens if someone challenges her authority? Does she respond with diplomacy, or does she finally show the fierce side we've only glimpsed before? Because awkward Mia was always stronger than people assumed, and confident Queen Mia, she might be unstoppable. The biggest magic of this franchise has always been transformation. Not just hair and glasses transformation, emotional transformation, growth, stepping into power. So maybe this third film isn't about becoming a princess again, maybe it's about proving she deserves to stay queen. But here's the part that makes everything even more suspenseful. What if the biggest test Mia faces isn't political, romantic, or royal? What if it's personal? Personal, because crowns can survive political storms, kingdoms can survive scandals, but the heart, that's where things get complicated. If the Princess Diaries 3 truly wants to evolve the story, then the real drama won't just sit on the throne, it will sit inside Mia herself. After 20 years of ruling Genovia, what if the biggest battle isn't outside the palace walls, but within them? Think about it. Mia Thermopolis started as a girl who didn't think she was enough. Not pretty enough, not polished enough, not royal enough. Her entire journey was about discovering that leadership doesn't come from perfection, it comes from heart. But here's the uncomfortable question, and no one is asking. What if somewhere along the way, Queen Mia forgot that lesson? Power changes people, responsibility changes people, and sometimes trying to be strong for everyone else means slowly silencing your own doubts instead of facing them. Has Mia been carrying the weight of Genovia so long that she forgot how to just be Mia, the girl who tripped over her own feet but still stood tall? And if Nicholas is still by her side, played again by Chris Pine. What does their dynamic look like now? Are they the royal couple everyone admires from afar, smiling perfectly at state events while hiding quiet disagreements behind palace doors? Or are they stronger than ever, bonded by years of partnership? Because here's the thing about fairy tales. We usually stop the story at the wedding. We don't see the compromises, the sleepless nights, the pressure of raising a family under a spotlight. If there is a next generation princess in this story, that adds a whole new layer. Imagine Mia watching her daughter struggle with the same insecurities she once had. Does she step in gently, or does she push too hard, afraid of history repeating itself? What if the very lessons Queen Clarice once taught Mia now echo in her own voice? What if she hears herself saying the same firm, elegant words and suddenly realizes she has become the mentor she once feared? That's powerful. And let's not ignore the emotional absence that will be felt without Gary Marshall, whose direction shaped the warmth and humor of the original films. His legacy looms over this sequel, which means the creative team has one massive challenge: deliver evolution without losing charm. Modernize the tone without making it cynical. Keep the magic without turning it into parody, because audiences today are sharper, louder, faster to judge. Nostalgia alone won't save this film. It needs heart, it needs stakes, it needs that moment where Mia stands in front of her people, or maybe just in front of herself, and chooses courage again. And what if that moment comes from something deeply unexpected? What if Genovia faces a decision that forces Mia to choose between tradition and progress, between protecting the old ways and embracing change? That kind of conflict would mirror her original journey perfectly. Back then, she had to choose whether to accept the crown. Now she might have to redefine what that crown even means, and here's where the title hits differently. Once a princess, always a princess. Is that a comfort or is it a burden? Because being a princess once meant discovering your worth, but always being a princess, that means never stepping out of the spotlight, never having an ordinary day, never being anonymous. What if Mia secretly misses that? The freedom, the simplicity, the messy teenage life before the tiara. Can a queen admit she sometimes misses being ordinary? And if she does, what does that mean for her future? Anne Hathaway stepping back into this role isn't just casting news, it's symbolic. She has grown, she has changed, she has lived through her own Hollywood evolution. So when she plays Mia now, it won't be the same energy, it will be layered, experienced, wiser, maybe even a little more guarded, which could make this the most mature chapter yet. But don't expect it to lose its sparkle. The Princess Diaries has always balanced humor with emotion, awkwardness with elegance. So even if the themes are deeper, legacy, identity, leadership, the charm must remain. The witty exchanges, the soft romantic tension, the empowering speeches that make you sit a little straighter in your seat, because in the end, this story isn't about perfection, it's about growth. From frizzy-haired teenager to confident queen. From diary secrets to national responsibility, from doubting herself to inspiring others, Mia's journey mirrors an entire generation that grew up alongside her. And now that generation is older too, facing careers, families, responsibilities, doubts. So maybe this sequel isn't just about returning to Genovia. Maybe it's about reminding us that growth never really stops. That becoming confident once doesn't mean you'll never struggle again. That wearing the crown doesn't mean you stop questioning yourself. And that sometimes the bravest thing a queen can do is admit she's still learning. But here's the final royal question that changes everything. When the doors of Genovia open in 2026 and Queen Mia steps forward once more, will she simply rule the kingdom? Or will she redefine what it truly means to wear the crown?